Menopause, right. Something we talk about. But have you ever thought about breathing's role in it?
It's not the first thing that comes to mind.
Exactly. But get this. We're diving deep into some writings by Fleur.
She's a breathing specialist, and she really focuses on women's health, which is so key here.
Okay, so she's not just talking about, like, taking a deep breath when you're stressed.
No, she makes a pretty bold claim. She says understanding our breath, like really understanding it, could be the key to handling, even minimizing those annoying menopause symptoms.
Okay, before we even get to menopause, though.
Yeah.
This idea that breathing is more than just, well, breathing.
Right.
It's kind of like mind-blowing. Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Yeah, so Fleur's work is all about highlighting how much power our breath has. Like we think of it as this simple thing, right?
Mm.
But she points out that, and this is especially true for women going through menopause, a lot of us experience this thing called chronic overbreathing. And that can actually make some of those common menopause symptoms like anxiety or hot flashes or even just having trouble sleeping even worse.
You know, now that you mention it, feeling out of breath, it's like a tale as old as time. My friends going through it, they always mention that. Is it, like, directly related to hormones going crazy?
It's definitely connected to hormones. Hormones really are like these messengers, right? They impact everything, and that includes our respiratory system.
Okay.
So, for example, Fleur talks about progesterone. When the levels of that hormone increase, like after ovulation in a normal cycle,
Yeah.
it can actually like stimulate faster, shallower breathing.
So it's not just in our heads. There's a real, like, physical reason why breathing feels different during certain times of the month or even throughout menopause.
Exactly. And during perimenopause, those hormone levels, they're all over the place. So it's like you might have these periods of altered breathing even when you're not, pregnant or about to start your period.
Wow.
It's like your body gets kind of stuck in this mode of thinking it needs to breathe faster and shallower.
I could see how that would be a problem. Like, if you constantly feel out of breath, you'd automatically think it's anxiety or stress, right?
Totally.
And here's what's interesting. My instinct in those moments is always to take bigger, deeper breaths. But Fleur, she's saying that might actually be the opposite of what helps.
It does seem counterintuitive.
Right.
But it all comes down to the science of like how carbon dioxide and oxygen are exchanged in our bodies.
Okay.
We often think of carbon dioxide as this like waste product, get it out.
Yeah. Like, exhale.
Exactly. But the thing is, our bodies need a certain amount of it to make sure our cells are getting enough oxygen.
Oh, interesting.
It's about balance.
So it's not just about how much air we take in. It's the balance of, like, the different gases in our system.
Exactly.
That is fascinating.
Yeah, and when we overbreathe, when we're taking those big, deep breaths all the time, we actually end up expelling too much carbon dioxide, and that's what throws the balance off.
So it's like filling a car with gas, but there's a hole in the fuel line.
Yes.
You might have a full tank, but the engine isn't getting what it needs to run.
You got it. It's like you keep trying to put more air in, but it's not actually helping anything.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But how does this, like, chronically overbreathing thing, how does it actually connect to all those, the symptoms of menopause we were talking about?
So when we overbreathe chronically, it kind of like activates our nervous system's stress response.
Oh, okay.
That fight or flight feeling.
Like when you're about to give a presentation,
Yeah.
you feel that, like, your
Yes.
heart's racing.
Yes.
And your palms are sweaty.
Yes, exactly. And it's like when we're overbreathing all the time, that stress response is just stuck. It's like always on.
Oh, wow.
Which can lead to, that anxious feeling, trouble sleeping, hot flashes, even like more sensitivity to pain.
So basically, Fleur is saying that instead of, like, downing another coffee when you're feeling that afternoon slump, maybe we should check in with our breath first.
It's kind of like that, yeah. Like maybe instead of adding something else in, we need to look at what's already there.
Right. Because so many women I know, they're just told to, like, power through those symptoms.
Yeah.
But what I'm hearing from you and from Fleur is that there might be this, like, way simpler, more natural way to deal with them.
Absolutely.
So what's the secret? What does Fleur actually recommend we do about it?
So she talks about this idea of becoming like a breathing detective.
A breathing detective?
Yeah. It's not about adding more to your plate or anything, but it's more about bringing awareness to how you're breathing.
So, like, should I be carrying around a little notebook? Every time I exhale, I write it down?
I love that. But no, it's way more simple than that.
Okay, good.
It's really about just starting to notice those like unconscious breathing habits. Like, do you often feel out of breath? Are you breathing through your mouth or your nose? Do you find yourself sighing or yawning a lot?
It's funny, she even mentions, like, waking up with a dry mouth as a sign that you might be mouth breathing during the night. I would never connected those two things.
It's amazing what you start to notice when you pay attention.
Yeah.
These little things, they can tell us a lot about our breathing patterns, you know? And it's not about judging ourselves, it's about just kind of observing.
Yeah, like we're on a mission to understand our bodies better.
Exactly. And the cool thing is, once you start paying attention, you can start making these, like, small changes, to how you breathe.
So we don't have to, like, quit our jobs and go live in a cave somewhere, just breathe all day.
I mean, you could, but no, Fleur's approach is really about making it work in your everyday life. Like, for example, just becoming aware when you're mouth breathing and consciously switching to nose breathing.
Oh, okay.
Simple things like that.
That actually seems, like, doable. I think I'm so busy, like, reminding my kids to breathe through their noses that I forget about myself.
It's easy to forget, right? We don't really think about it until we do.
True.
But yeah, breathing, it's like this constant thing,
Yeah.
It's happening all day, every day, so even small changes can make a big difference.
It's wild to think about how something so basic can be so powerful.
It really is. And, we've been talking about this in the context of menopause, but Fleur's work, it's relevant for everyone. Like, breathing affects our energy, our stress, even how well we sleep. It's like the foundation of well-being no matter your age.
This whole deep dive has really been eye-opening. It makes you think about what other, like, simple but powerful connections we might be missing when it comes to our health.
Right.
What else could we be paying attention to?
Absolutely. I think it's a good reminder to stay curious, and be open to trying new things. Our bodies are always sending us signals. It's just about learning to listen.
And sometimes those signals are as subtle as our breath.
Yeah.
Well, this has been fascinating. Thank you so much for taking us on this.